The following informative discussion with Mary Moore and Peter Phillips is about the Bohemian Club and its forest retreat, the Bohemian Grove. The Bohemian Grove is 2,700 acres of beautiful forest area in Sonoma County, California. Remarkably, many of the old-growth redwoods at the Bohemian Grove are over 1,000 years old. The Bohemian Club itself was established in 1872. The Bohemian Grove Retreat is held for 2 weeks in July every year since 1893. Up to 2,000 members and guests may be there at any one time during the encampment. Contemporary guests include George H.W. Bush, Donald Rumsfeld, David Rockefeller, Henry Kissinger, James Woolsey, Paul Pelosi, Ronald Reagan, Richard Nixon, and so many more. Peter Phillips, Ph.D., is the former 15-year director of Project Censored. He is a professor of sociology at Sonoma State University, and his doctoral dissertation was entitled A Relative Advantage, Sociology of the San Francisco Bohemian Club. Mary Moore is a devoted social justice activist and coalition builder based in Sonoma County, California. She has been active in the Bohemian Grove Action Network for over 30 years. Mary Moore and the Bohemian Grove Action Network have this message. We focus on the Bohemian Grove and its elite members working in military, corporate, banking, and government sectors because they serve the public, yet they meet in private. Accusations of Molech worship or human sacrifice at the Bohemian Grove are not endorsed by the 30-plus-year-old Bohemian Grove Action Network, Mary Moore, or Peter Phillips. So what exactly is the Cremation of Care ceremony?
The Cremation of Care ceremony has been, the core idea is that the men are coming there in a sense of friendship and comradeship, and that they're leaving behind the cares of the world. So weaving spiders do not enter, kind of thing.
Yeah, right.
And they're serious about that to a point. Certainly, if you remember and you start to try to sell the guys in your camp an insurance policy, they're going to kick you out, and there's actually evidence of that. But, that doesn't mean men don't talk business and have deals. But the idea coming in is leaving your cares behind. So there's this ceremony on the first Saturday night of each growth session that is the burning of the cares, is a symbolic burning of care, and, and leaving behind so that there's an open friendship and connecting with people on a personal basis without the cares of the world on their shoulders. It's called the Spirit of Bohemia, and men, they really believe in that, and certainly to some extent people I interviewed believe, and this may be the only place in corporate officials' lives where they go for 2 weeks or 3 weekends or whatever piece of it is, where they see the same men, they camp together, they can talk about their prostate and their families and everything else in a very intimate way. And so that certainly can be personally appealing for people who are out in the business world all the time, and you don't necessarily have that except with immediate personal friends. So that's very, very, very I think appealing to people. It's appealing on an emotional level. So the Cremation of Care ceremony is meant to be reflective of that. And I actually viewed it in probably '96, where my good friend Rick Williams and I wanted to see it, so we just walked in the front gate in khakis and a Hawaiian shirt and a hat, and nobody said anything, and we went and saw the Cremation of Care ceremony and walked out. And what we saw was, it starts out, there's couple thousand men around the lake, and there's a stage and the orchestra pit, and the orchestra's playing music, and the stage is fairly broad, and then right behind it is this 30-foot, 40-foot owl, which is actually concrete, but it's so old it looks like it's got moss on it.
They call it stone, yeah.
Yeah,
but,
I mean, if you look on the inside, it's clearly a concrete
right.
image. But and the owl is the symbol of wisdom for the club, and very symbolic of the club. So the first we saw, there'd be a line of men in monks' robes with torches, and that's the first thing you see. And they're coming down the road towards the lake. And behind them was this horse-drawn carriage, an ancient hearse, with a casket in it. and then bishops, men dressed up like bishops in bright, colorful robes and mitre hats and long bishop
They
staffs.
just happen to be red hooded robes.
No, there was some red, some blue. I mean, there was
So they
different
have a
colors.
variety.
Yeah.
Okay, that's interesting.
You know, and sometimes the wording has been changed over the years in the Cremation of Care, so I mean, the theme's kind of the same. And so they come in, and the monks all go up on the stage with all their torches, and the hearse goes around to the back of the lake, and the Cremation of Care, it's a skeleton, is loaded on this gondola, and it's poled across the lake to the front of the owl. And the idea is they're going to burn Cremation of Care. And then
they're going to vanish. That was
banish Care.
Yeah,
Well, they
right.
burn. They're going to burn.
Right.
Symbolically burn Care.
Right.
And then so they try to light the Care on fire, and all their torches go out. You know, and Care, there's a mocking voice from a loudspeaker in the forest.
Me.
You can't banish Care.
Right,
you know,
right. It's a whole scripted thing.
And the guys are, you know, we're sitting out in the crowd with, you know, some guys are kind of, you can tell they're taking it seriously, and other guys are just kind of chuckling. I mean, it's not, you know, some ritual that has any spiritual.
It's
meaning
not Moloch.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Which is,
and so there's one flame left. And it's the wisdom of the owl. And, you know, so the bishop will go and light the torch and then put the Cremation of Care, and he burns up. And so, and then fireworks go off.
Right.
And,
in the middle of a redwood forest in July.
Almost daily during the 2-week Bohemian Grove retreat, special guests will deliver lakeside talks to the 2,000 members that are camping. What are the lakeside talks, and why are they so important?
In 2006, Lynn Orr from Stanford spoke up there on bringing back nuclear power to to address the global warming issue.
Right.
And look what happened. And so I've often said that.
Now Obama's bringing back nuclear power.
Exactly. And it doesn't matter if it's a Democrat or Republican.
We still don't know what to do with nuclear waste. But,
exactly.
Yeah.
But I mean, it's been a harbinger of stuff to come, often those talks, you know. So.
Well, I think they're hitting the core issues of things that are being addressed, and they're reflecting the strategies of where elites want to go.
Right.
And as we look at the success of the military, industrial, and even media complex now in the U.S., the war on terrorism really has created a permanent state of war, so that we've got enemies everywhere in the world. And so we have 1,000 military bases. We spend more money on weaponry and the Pentagon and our nuke program, Department of Energy, than all the world combined. So we are this, you know, pushing this agenda of U.S. military domination of the world.
Right.
And it was laid out before 9/11.
And PNAC.
And through the Project of New American Century, but even going back a few decades before that. And so 9/11 was the opportunity to really expand that. So we see Lockheed Martin, Northrop Grumman, all these big companies receiving, you know, 200-300% increase in their stock values. Right. Let alone Carlisle, you know, 1,000%.
It was a dream come true.
It was a dream come true. And then we see even in Congress now, what quarter of the people in Congress are invested in these military companies.
Right.
So, you know, they're getting returns on their stock
investments. To say nothing of the lobbyists that have already, even if they don't have their direct
billions of dollars of lobbyists. Exactly.
Yeah.
So, and the people on those military boards, that they sit on the media boards and they sit on the bank boards, and they're all interconnected. And,
exactly.
And, you know, one out of the 2,000 or 3,000 men that are at the Grove, you know, one out of 5 there is somebody like that who's sitting on multiple boards of directors, very powerful people. And then there's some just ordinary rich guys that own a chain of hardware stores in the Central Valley or something. But
those are called the men of use,
and then make good donations to the others. So that's the process.
In 2008, a Bohemian Grove schedule was leaked. Amongst all the information was a lakeside talk by Trilateral Commission member Fred Starr. The talk was entitled Afghanistan, the Unexpected Upside. The very next year, in 2009, Obama sent 70,000 more troops to Afghanistan. Obama's principal foreign policy advisor, Zbigniew Brzezinski, was co-founder of the Trilateral Commission along with Bohemian Grove member David Rockefeller. Within 10 days of office, Barack Obama had appointed 11 members of the Trilateral Commission to his top-level positions of finance, intelligence, and security positions. This represented 12% of the Trilateral Commission's U.S. membership at the time. So, how is the Bohemian Club relevant to the truth emergency in politics today? Please tune in for Chapter 2, which will be coming soon.